we want to introduce a very special guest coming to us from San Francisco State, a proud Gator, a wrestling superstar, really a two-sport superstar, Maxamillian Schneider. Thank you so much for joining us, Max, and reading about your journey. It's fascinating because, I mean, you see how difficult wrestling is. You see how difficult these contact sports are. So you are a star wrestler at SF State right now, but you're also a judo expert. Tell me first off, what got up and running for you first?
So I was always a judoka. Started judo when I was 5, maybe 6, and started competing at national tournaments at a pretty young age, like 7, 8. Won a couple nationals, and didn't actually start wrestling until high school. And then from high school, started gaining some wins, some national attention. And then ultimately, wrestling kind of took a backseat to judo once again. But, I'm very happy that I have a chance to continue my collegiate career.
How much has what you learned in judo contributed to your ability to be a good wrestler and vice versa?
Well, I see the grappling as like a fluid knowledge. There's a lot of different grappling arts, whether it's like Mongolian wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo, wrestling, freestyle, Greco. They all kind of contribute to each other. So the more knowledge you can gain, the more that they can all contribute to like a whole athlete.
Yeah, and seeing all those disciplines at work, right? They all kind of talk to each other in some sense, right?
Yeah.
I understand that you were a training partner for the 2016 Olympic Games. This was helping Team USA. What did it mean to you to have that type of opportunity on display?
I mean, it was a great honor for me. I was the only training partner that didn't have an Olympian coming from my club, so it meant a lot that the team voted to bring me along and thought I was a worthy partner for them to warm up with and do pre-Olympic practices with. It's nice to be a glorified throwing dummy sometimes.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, were there some eye-opening moments where it's like, you've been practicing this and been in this art all your life, and then you get onto this stage, you're like, whoa, what's going on here?
I knew a lot of the Olympians personally, and part of being a training partner is you have to show up for camps beforehand so that they can get used to working with you as a new body to work with. You don't want new people to work with at the Olympics. You want someone you've been training with for a while. So, it was really good to meet those people and see their motivation, how they interact with the sport, and how they deal with the immense pressure. Because one of the partners I was training with, Kayla Harrison, she's a fighter now, but she was a 2-time gold medalist in London and in Rio. So watching her deal with the pressure of coming back from the London Games where she won gold and into this game where she was expected to win gold again, there were some times where you could tell that she was really under pressure, and to see her handle it and thrive under it, it's really inspiring.
Do I have this right? You started your collegiate career at Cal Poly?
Yes.
What made you decide to continue your path of studying and being a student athlete at San Francisco State?
Well, ultimately I have to credit Jason Welsh, the coach. He's a good friend of mine, and honestly, I didn't think that I would be coming back to wrestling ever again. And one day he called me up. I think it was a month after I had my ACL replaced, and asked me if I wanted to wrestle again, if I had any eligibility. And it really means a lot that he gave me the opportunity to go back and get a degree.
What was that rehab like coming back from that? Because especially with those sports,
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of struggled with some injuries. It's my 3rd surgery I've had, so, sometimes, you just have to bounce back. You take it one day at a time, you do the work, you trust in the process, and you know that it'll all be worth it in the end.
I always ask athletes this especially when you're participating in contact sports. Can you run down your list of injuries for us?
Oh, man. Yeah, couple concussions, surgery on both shoulders, labrum repairs, 1 torn rotator cuff in the left, torn hamstring on the left leg, new ACL, torn meniscus, broken ankle, just...
How much do you feel all of that in your day-to-day?
I feel it every day, yeah, every day.
No escaping it, I guess. On that note, why don't you take us through the day in the life of a collegiate wrestler?
So there are harder days and there are easier days. So one of the harder days would be a 6:45 a.m. lift.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Ouch,
that-
yeah.
That probably
Couldn't
hurts
do
more
that.
than the torn rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, picking up those weights at 6:45 isn't easy, you know. So start with that 6:45 a.m. lift, you know, shower, breakfast, but then, you know, it's not really a break. You go off to class. So then class for a couple hours, then getting ready for practice at 2:30, little break, shower, eat, rest, recover, back to class, go home, dinner, homework, rinse and repeat.
And you know, you said that you're friends with a lot of Olympians, and just being in that scene in 2016, did a lot of that discipline come from that experience, or it's kind of in that kind of told you like, hey, if to get on this stage, this is what it's going to take, this kind of dedication?
Yeah, I mean, seeing their dedication, you see that it is possible, right? And I've seen a lot of Olympians struggle through injury as well, you know? So seeing them struggle, you all kind of justify it in your mind that it will be worth it, because a lot of times you get hurt, there's pain, you want to quit, you're like, is this worth it? Am I going to feel this when I'm older? How much will I hate myself when I'm older? But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you only have one life, so you just have to live it to its fullest.
Well, on that note, when your wrestling days and your judo days are done, whenever that may be, hopefully a long time down the road,
Yeah.
what do you envision the rest of your life's path looking like?
Well, you know, I like to write, so I've been working on a book. I also, right now, I'm studying biochemistry. So,
Wow.
I heard that. What is the book about?
you know, it's kind of autobiography a little bit. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I've been working on some different things. Don't want to give up too many secrets, but
Gonna have to get the book when it comes out, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So biochemistry as well, and I read something about kinesiology in the mix.
Kinesiology was originally my plan, but you know, the more I started reading, the more I started actually getting into the micro reactions that are happening within the body, like thinking about how my body is interacting with these foreign components in it now, and also like I've torn some things that are irreparable. So what can I do? What can I learn to maybe ease the process, or even possibly like patent technology to help regrow this thing and help other people that have struggled with this injury as well.
This is
Wow.
all fascinating. Like, maybe we should stop with the weightlifting at 6:45. Let's go all to the biochemistry talk. You saying all that made me think, like, what's the most injured you've ever been while competing?
I would say torn hamstring. I tore a third of my hamstring through the center and part of the casing of my sciatic. So massive hemorrhaging within my leg. It was not repairable, so I still am missing a third of my hamstring. So like working with that, you know, I lost a lot of power in the leg, and you know, eventually it led to other things starting to break down around it. But that's probably the most traumatic injury I've had.
So how do you work around that? What are the things you have to do to compensate and still be able to compete at a high level?
Well, you know, it's all about the team around you. You know, I'm not a physical therapist. I didn't go to school for that. There are people who spend years and years of their life dedicated to that study alone. And, you know, I have a really great team around me. I have a guy that I talked to on the phone when I moved from Chicago. So originally, I'm a Chicagoan, and my guy in Chicago, his name is Devor Vasilyevich. He, you know, he really helped me through a lot, and made sure that my physical therapy was all going on track. And yeah, it's all about the team around you that's really helping you through these things, because you can't do it alone.
You've accomplished a lot early on in your career through the high school and the collegiate ranks. I'm curious, what is next immediately on the career checklist for you?
It would be a national Division II wrestling title. I have regionals later this week, so top 3 qualify for nationals, and from there on, it's hopefully, you know, going to the big dance and winning the crown.
And that's, I
Right.
mean, just going through that run. One thing I'm wondering about too is that you watch UFC, you watch MMA now. Have you noticed, you having a judo and a wrestling background, that the champion? I see an immediate reaction to it. Have you noticed that, you know, the top fighters generally tend to be the fighters that have that type of background rather than a striking background?
Yeah, and you know, I've worked with some UFC fighters as far as like consultant work, and it is something that they really do highly value. Grappling, it's all about the range of fighting. It's whether you're in the striking range or you move a little bit closer and you're in the grappling range. So being able to move fluidly throughout those ranges and seamlessly change between a striker and a grappler is something that a lot of UFC fighters really work on honing.
Yeah, who are some of the guys that you really key in on and you see like, wow, like they're outstanding? Because I mean, I go to the McGregor-Khabib fight a few months ago, and I'm seeing it. It's like McGregor can't get anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, to move in and out of McGregor's range and not really get touched that much, Khabib is really awesome. His striking could probably use a little bit of work, but he's a grappler, so there's always something to work on. Yeah. But DC does it really well. I really like DC as a fighter. Yeah.
Would you ever consider a trip into the octagon?
Ooh, we'll see how my body holds up.
We'll see how the body holds up. We'll see how the book works out. Very nice. Hey, good luck in regionals this week, and you have a bright future ahead of you. Thank you so much. Maxamillian Schneider, San Francisco State wrestling superstar, really everything superstar, academically, athletically. Thank you so much, Max. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, switching gears here now. We've been talking about this story for a number of days now. What's going to be happening with the baseball